Hello and welcome to another episode of Rico'S Rants. I'm your host, Rico DiGiorgio. God, it's been a while. Why has it been a while? Because, two reasons. I was really fucking sick with a flu. And I know I say that all the time. I got gnats in my room. I know I say that, I know, this is interesting, right? Like this is like going back old school to like the first episode of Rico's Rants where I did an episode of Black Mass. Like this is going way back a couple years, like a year ago. But I'm sort of getting back into it. I think it looks good. I was really sick, and I know a lot of you are probably getting tired of me in every other video being like, "Oh, I was really sick," and but like there's my migraines, which are debilitating. I really can't function too much on them. I could try. I can sort of get through them. I can sort of get through the day on it. But then there's like the flu, where I can sort of stomach going through work with a migraine, but I cannot really function through with the flu. I mean, it's really hard to do. Especially, I had a fever, and so Steph, the infamous Steph, she was visiting me, and I hadn't seen her in a couple of weeks, and so then she came out to visit me and take care of me, and then she ended up not catching what I had, but having something completely different and fucking worse. So she had some viral infection. So for like 2 weeks, we were just both like taking care of each other and getting better and then getting worse and then like sort of just trying to get our shit together and trying to get healthy. And it was difficult. She lives, 8 hours away. So I more or less like said like I don't think you should drive back to your home. And we went to Kaiser 3 times. She went there twice. She went there 3 times. I went there with her twice. And I basically like the doctor's like, yeah, there's no way you could drive on this day to get back on this time. Like it's not going to happen. So I managed to get Steph to stay a couple extra days just to make sure she was feeling a little bit better. Um, so I was sick. At one point, I was feeling well enough to record a episode with my partner, CJ. You can look him up at m_blade on Twitter, and you can follow our podcast at pod askew, and you can follow me at Rants Rico. And so managed to do a recording. I was feeling good, well enough to do that. We were trying to get Steph to do a recording with us, but we have announced on Twitter, and I'll announce on here, Steph is now the official manager of Pod Askew. She's also probably going to be our PR manager as well. So, just giving you guys a little bit of a little update on what the fuck has been going on. So Steph and I were trying to feel better as much as we could. We were trying to heal ourselves as well as each other. I'm 95% better. The only problem is I have some slight congestion, and my ears are still plugged up, so I can't hear very well. So I'm a little louder than normal. But like a week ago, I had no voice. I couldn't breathe through my nose. I couldn't hear anything. So I was just, I was done. I was gone from the world, man. I couldn't do it. Steph lost her voice a number of times. She would feel better, then lose it again. Um, so yeah, this past couple of weeks, as much as I am grateful Steph was visiting me, and I love seeing her every single time, and I miss her tremendously. She left today, and I'm missing my girlfriend, guys. I'm brokenhearted. Not brokenhearted, just you know, longing, missing. You don't see each other for quite a long time, and then all of a sudden you see each other every day for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. It takes a lot. It really just kind of sucker punches you in the balls, in the heart, the testicles of the heart, just boom. Um, But in the middle of all that, I managed to watch some movies with Steph. I'm going to try and do some series of videos to try and post, because it's been a while since I posted. Number one of the things that I, above all, have always been a fan of ever since I was a little kid, and I managed to show Stephanie 3/4 of them, is Blackadder. Now, a lot of you, if you're American and you aren't fans of British humor, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit? Skip this episode. Trust me. Blackadder, pure fucking genius gold. Started in the early 80s. Blackadder was a British sitcom, a historical sitcom that Rowan Atkinson of Mr. Bean fame started when he was more or less an unknown, and was also working on not the 6 o'clock news or something. I don't know what the actual show, I think that's what it's called. And it was Ben Elton and Richard Curtis as well. So the first season, more or less 90%, most people can agree, is not the best of the seasons or the series, because it is a historical sitcom. So each series or each season, for you Americans, myself included, is a different point of British history. So in Blackadder the First, it is set during the Richard III, medieval, not medieval, but the 11th century, the Black Plague era. There's still swords and shields and castles and shit. The joke being, this is an alternate timeline. So Blackadder the First, Rowan Atkinson plays Edmund Blackadder, the Duke of Edinburgh, and he is the son of King Richard IV. The joke being, there was no King Richard IV. It was Richard III, and then Henry Tudor. The whole, my horse, my kingdom for a horse. There's a part where Peter Cook played Richard III. Has won the Battle of Bosworth Field, and he goes off to find a horse, and Blackadder is off to the side taking a leak, and his horse is there, and the king, his uncle, goes to take his horse, and without knowing who he is, he beheads him. So there starts a new alternate timeline of British history, and the bloodline of the Blackadders, which is the moniker and the mantle that Edmund takes on for himself. So the only significant parts of this series, of the first series, Blackadder 1, is that it's very dry, but the characters themselves, specifically with Blackadder, is very snivelly and very kind of weak and kind of not intelligent, very clumsy and kind of grotesque and very childish. As the series progresses and as the seasons progress, and as his descendants over the course of many years, his status of royalty drops, but his brain gets smarter and smarter. His descendants get more and more intelligent, more sarcastic, more witty, and more Machiavellian. So in Blackadder II, he's just Lord Blackadder underneath Queen Elizabeth during the Elizabethan era. And so Blackadder the First has some funny episodes, I'm not going to lie, but it is because even Rowan Atkinson was like, I had honestly, up until we were about to start filming, I had no idea how I was going to play Edmund. And you can tell that he's just like kind of doing what he can, but it's not going as good as it should. Then you get to Blackadder the First, Blackadder the Second, Blackadder 2. He's a little bit more cunning, and like I said, his royal status is dropped, and it's a lot of him dealing with trying to make money and trying to deal with his two idiot friends. And the two idiot friends are usually, no matter what, there's always a Baldric. And Baldric is, when he starts out in Blackadder 1, is the most intelligent of all of them. But as the series progresses, and the descendants progress, his descendants become the stupidest people in the planet. Just stupid, and also grungy and dirty, and usually have warts on their face, and they are always trying to come up with a cunning plan. That's a joke. I have a cunning plan to solve this problem. And usually the plan is the stupidest plan ever. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes it works. Most of the time they don't even attempt it. But that's the humor. The other idiot is played by Tim McInerney, and he is usually playing a character named Percy, Lord Percy. And in the first one, he's just another daft, kind of just goofball with very little intelligence. And then in Blackadder 2, he's sort of just as stupid, but still sort of a lovable character. Blackadder 3rd, they drop Percy entirely and replace him with Hugh Laurie. Hugh Laurie of House. And you see, like, when I was a kid, I remember the very big distinction, realizing Hugh Laurie was British and that he was very, very, very funny. Because he was funny in House. And I had seen him in some random fucking movies, like Stuart Little, and I just never made the connection because I was a kid. Then I saw Blackadder, and I'm like, holy fuck, this guy is hysterical. And in Blackadder 3rd, I'm jumping all over the place. In Blackadder 3rd, he plays the Prince Regent, Prince George, the Prince of Wales, essentially. But he played, and there was, the thing about it is there are these real people throughout history. They just sort of poke fun at and reference and satire and lampoon, like George, the prince, in real life was a fat idiot who indulged in women and food and was really not regarded as a well-received prince. Now, Hugh Laurie is not fat in any way, so they played him slender, but just as stupid and just as indulgent with money and clothes and women and food. And they keep calling him a fat pig, but it's not specifically him being fat, just that he acts like a pig. And in that series, Blackadder is now, his descendant is now reduced to being a butler to the prince. And his dog's body is Baldric. So then you get to Blackadder Goes Forth. Blackadder Goes Forth is them in World War I in the trenches. Blackadder Goes Forth is arguably the best. I mean, it always is the most well received. I think in part because there's a little bit of modern humor, like they make references to Charlie Chaplin. Not so much modern in 2018, but, people in 2018 can, have seen a Charlie Chaplin film. Or they have some records, or they have, they'll make, because World War I is not really a funny thing to talk about, but yet, Rowan Atkinson, and Richard Curtis really fucking made it hysterical. And I remember watching it, like, tapes of them again and again, repeatedly, and they're always funny to me. They're always hysterical. A great multitude of British actors and actresses and cameos, and sometimes they'll have a descendant of a character from the previous series coming back, like Rick Mile comes. He's in the first season as one character, and then in the second season he plays a guy named Lord Flashheart, and then in the fourth season his descendant, Captain Flashheart or something, Captain, comes and he's a pilot, and he's just like womanizing and robust and in your face and crass but charming. And oh God, honestly, if you've never seen Blackadder, go see Blackadder. This was more or less sort of a test for Stephanie. If she could appreciate this, it would have hurt me. But she loved it, and she passed the test. We still haven't gone through all of Blackadder. Blackadder Goes Forth. Here's an interesting thing. It's almost like the Shrek series copied the Blackadder series. You have Shrek 1, Shrek 2. Blackadder 1, Blackadder 2. Then you have Shrek the Third, Blackadder the Third. Then you have Shrek Goes Forth. Then you have Blackadder Goes Forth. I'm waiting for the fifth one to be just called Shrek Back and Forth. All that time travel, because they made a special for Blackadder, just a one episode thing where it's the millennium, and the modern day Blackadder gets a time machine and goes back and forth, all over time and fucks with time. It wasn't great. It was fine. So based on that, if you haven't seen Blackadder, go see Blackadder. I don't care how you do it. I don't even care if you have to pay for it. If you can steal it, steal it. Go see it. Fucking Blackadder is so funny. Rowan Atkinson is hysterical. The whole cast is hysterical. And you'll see a lot of future actors in like Harry Potter. Like Robbie Coltrane shows up a couple times. He shows up in the third one as the writer of the English dictionary. What a really funny fucking episode. Then they did a Christmas special, and he plays the ghost of Christmas Past. So he's the big guy with the beard, and you're like, that's fucking Hagrid. Of course, Robbie Coltrane is perfect to play Hagrid, because he more or less kind of played a Hagrid character years previously. So I'm going to move on to the next rant in a minute. I'm going to post this. Hope you guys love it. And I'll keep you posted. Bye, guys.